Hello, everybody. Welcome to one of the premier road race tracks in America, Laguna Seca, nestled in the rolling hills just inland from Monterey, California. My name is Bob Lee, and I'm your race commentator flying above the track in this Jet Ranger helicopter. We are traveling from the starting line towards Turn 1, which for a superbike is a 145-mile-per-hour fifth-gear left-hander. The corner is almost blind, coming right after the brow of a hill. This leads straight into Turn 2, also a left-hander, which is taken in fourth gear at 130 miles per hour. Then the bikes accelerate up to 150 miles per hour. On the approach to Turn 3, the riders must sit up, brake, and change down to fourth gear. Turn 3 is taken at about 120 miles per hour, with the riders leaning completely off the motorcycle, with their left knee precariously close and almost scraping the pavement. Then there is a short straight up the hill under the bridge towards Turn 4, where the riders will again brake hard, shift down to third gear, and line themselves up for this 100-mile-per-hour left-hand turn. Then they tuck themselves in close to the gas tank and accelerate hard up the hill towards the famous corkscrew. Sharp left and right-hand turns where there is a change of direction, camber, and elevation. The riders will change down to second gear and literally pick up the front wheel and wrestle the over 400-pound machine as they change direction. This is followed by the long left-hand 80-mile-per-hour Turn 7 and down to the 95-mile-per-hour right-hand Turn 8, where again the rider's knees almost become an outrigger for the motorcycle. Then the short straight towards the slowest corner on the track, 15 to 20 miles per hour, and back onto the start-finish straight. Now we invite you to share with David Emdy on our number 56 camera bike the sights and sounds of riding a superbike.
This is what it looks like along the start-finish straight, under the bridge, up the hill, and into Turn 1. This is a tricky section. Turns 1 and 2 have been taken as one long left-hand swoop. I've got the two riders in front of me now. I'll get by one of these before Turn 3. Now I can pass. I'm accelerating up to about 150. This bike is going to take some getting used to. It handles very differently with the camera on the gas tank. I hope that I can sort it out before the race. Now I'm accelerating hard up the back hill. The front wheel becomes very light. Up over the brow of the hill. Down and brake hard for the corkscrew. Now towards Turn 8, a short straight, and down all 5 gears for Turn 9. The rider in front of me has missed braking point and run off the track into the safety area. These bikes are so fast, if you lose concentration just for an instant, you can be in real trouble.
Today's race on this 1.5-mile Laguna Seca track is the Champion Sparkplug Superbike Classic, and it marks a first in filming motorcycle races in America. For the first time ever, a bike will compete in this race with a camera actually mounted on the gas tank. David Emdy will give live coverage of what's happening from his perspective as he competes at speeds up to 150 miles per hour. On the back of the bike is a smaller camera from which we hope to see some of the racing from yet a different vantage point. Hello everybody, my name is Bruce Flanders and I'll be your commentator along pit row. Superbike racing is to motorcycles what NASCAR racing is to cars. The bikes actually look like one that you could buy from any motorcycle dealer's showroom, but looks can be deceiving. Modifications are made to the frame, brakes, tires, suspension, and engine. Wes Cooley, Superbike champion, explains some of the differences between his racing bike and the standard street bike.
This one weighs approximately 560 pounds, whereas its racing version weighs around 420 pounds. This one develops around 95 horsepower, and its racing version develops around 145 horsepower. First, I'd like to talk about the brakes. The brakes are the same on both motorcycles. They have double disc brakes. The racing version, however, is a larger diameter disc to accommodate the speeds that we have to stop from. This top speed on this motorcycle is around 170 miles an hour. This one's around 115 to 120. Tires on a standard motorcycle are ribbed, as we use the slicks on the racing version. The compounds in the slick tires, when they get up to heat and temperature during the race, they actually adhere better to the ground and provide for better traction. As far as the engines are concerned, the castings are exactly the same between the two motorcycles. There again, the racing version is hopped up a little bit inside. The pistons have been changed, the camshafts, the cranks on occasion. We've also gone to the 4-into-1 pipe as compared to the 2 pipe on the production motorcycle. This also helps for our ground clearance problems that we have. So it has a single rear disc brake. However, the racing version is vented to help the cooling in case it does get hot during a race. Carburation is pretty much the same. We have a little bit larger bore carburetor on the racing version. We have a fairing on this motorcycle. This is to cut down the wind resistance. Also, the handlebars are slightly different than the standard production motorcycle. They're lower, enabling us to get down closer to the center of gravity of the motorcycle, thus for better stability.
Today's Superbike is a sophisticated piece of machinery. The engineering and design work that it takes to build a winner is every bit as important as its automotive counterpart. And equally important is the human element.
Okay, perfect.
That final piece of tuning.
It doesn't stick out of the cylinder head that much, does it?
The small points, the final adjustments that will tailor-make each machine for its individual rider's idiosyncrasies and racing style. And after all the adjustments, compromises, theories, and practice runs, the 160-mile-per-hour projectile is fueled and presented to the racing officials for their seal of engineering safety. This is an incredibly exciting and demanding sport where the machine also acts as a mobile test bed for new engineering advances that'll make motorcycling safer and more enjoyable for the street rider. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage of this Superbike race, particularly the very special experience of being with David MD and witnessing what it's like to race a Superbike. As for me, I think I'll stick to cruising down the highway. This is Bruce Flanders for myself, Bob Lee up in the helicopter, and David MD still on the racetrack saying goodbye.